Hello everyone, this is Steven from the Even Steven channel, and today we're talking about the HK Heckler Koch P30L V1. This is a 9mm handgun. This has three 10-round magazines and the night sights. When you have three magazines and night sights, that's called the LE version, law enforcement version, and it just means that. It's about $100 extra, and you get an extra magazine and night sights. So let's open this up. Here we go. We got the P30L V1. Very nice. What else comes in the box? We got all the back straps and the side straps and this and that and the side panels. And we got the magazine loader. Actually, the magazine loader is a nice touch. My P2000 didn't come with this. This is actually marked USP Compact. We'll get to why in a little bit. Got an extra magazine. There also is a manual for the P30, P30L, P30SK. Excuse me. Cool cough there. We got a little HK sticker, Desiccatant bag. Not in the box, but came with the box. We have this little tool here. I think this is for I think someone mentioned this is like for the hammer spring or something like that, if you want to take the hammer spring out. I think that's what that's for. The third magazine. And a gun lock. And somehow all this was crammed in this box. I don't know how they did it. I think they just kind of shoved it in here. And I don't like to keep it in there because it just kind of gets in the way. So the P30L V1, specifically the P30L V1, is this the best 9mm HK handgun? Maybe, maybe not. I haven't really drawn my full conclusion there. It's just kind of almost a first impressions video. I have about 300 rounds to this gun. And while it's enough to have a decent opinion, I actually do want to do like a 1,000 round review on this gun. I want to shoot it more, which is a good sign. But this very well may be the best gun in the HK lineup, in my opinion. It might be. So what do we have here? This is a 9mm polymer framed hammer fired gun. It's a short recoil action. That is to say, let's do a little safety check there. I actually do it left-handed for some reason. Do it right-handed. That is to say, it's a short recoil, meaning that the barrel and slide reciprocate together for a short amount of time before it unlocks like there. So that's it's locked, 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 unlocked. And that just helps contain the pressure of the gun when it fires, and it makes the gun a little bit lighter, a little less recoil than a delayed blowback gun. So we're going to go through the features, bottom and top as I typically do, and we'll start with the magazines. So this magazine loader is actually marked USP-C, so USP Compact. These are elongated USP Compact magazines. This one actually might be a USP Compact magazine because it's the 10-round one. Standard capacity for the P30 is 15. I think now they're upped it in the last couple of years, last year or so. You can now buy 17-round magazines. These are unfortunately 10-round magazines. As per New Jersey law, so this is the low capacity, reduced capacity magazine. So I think what happened with this particular example, this is a 10-round magazine. I think this is the USP Compact magazine, and they put a P30 10-round base plate on it to make it long enough to fit in here. So these magazines are interchangeable with the VP9, the HK VP9, the striker-fired version. So the P30 magazines are interchangeable with the VP9, and the VP9/P30 magazines will also fit in the P2000 and the USP Compact because they're just slightly longer. That's it. They're the same magazine, just slightly longer, hold a couple more rounds. They're good, high quality, a little bit expensive. The cheapest I've seen is $35. I'm going to order a couple of these. I want 2 more. I have 3 here. I want a couple more. I'm going to order 2 more. And yeah, they're good, high quality. Again, if you shop around a little bit, you can get them for like $35 maybe. I got this gun from I think lockloaded.com, and they also have magazines that are pretty much the cheapest you can find. So magazines good, high quality, nothing wrong. Then we go up to talk about the grip. The grip on the HK P30 is excellent. The texturing is very good. It's very aggressive. It's probably the most aggressive of the 9mm handguns. For whatever reason, the VP9, the striker-fired version, came out after this, and for whatever reason, the VP9's texturing is a little bit less aggressive. See, it has very shallow finger grooves. Finger grooves have kind of gone out of style. However, if you make them shallow enough and design them well enough, you're going to fit most people's hands pretty well, and this fits my hand well. Texturing is good. The ergonomics all around is good. And as you can see, we have all of these back straps and side panels and this and that. They are very fortunately labeled. Very thoughtful to label those. This is, I should say large somewhere. Oh yeah, right in the middle, large. And even the side panels themselves are labeled. This is medium. This is small. And typically I find things like back straps and side panels and all that stuff kind of hokey. The way you would take this out is you would punch this pin, this back strap comes down, and then the side panels go backwards. So right now I have on the medium back strap, but I have a large side panel. So I was shooting a little bit. It felt a little thin in my hand. Seems a little wide there. Felt a little thin in my hand. I put the large ones on, and I did like that a little better. So I think the idea of back straps and side panels are a little bit hokey. I did use them. I did use them as intended. And I do kind of like it a little bit better. However, if I was just stuck with the medium ones, that would have been okay. Here, the magazine release. We have the paddle style magazine release. Of course, warning, refer to owner's manual. I won't. The magazine release can be actuated by either the thumb or by on the shooting hand, the shooting finger or the middle finger. I actually always do it with my middle finger. This one is just a tad bit small. I like it to be a little bit bigger, a little bit wider. However, it's still very functional, works well. I'm going to do a comparison video between the P30 and my P2000. I still have my P2000. This is very much going to replace my P2000. But I'm going to do like a full comparison video on that later. So note, there is no manual safety. You can't have a manual safety on this gun. That would make it the S model. And I feel like that would really ruin the gun, because that's kind of where you want your hand to be. I think you're going to want your hand to be like this, and that safety is going to be right in the way. So I think it's a bad spot for that safety. I believe it can be installed and uninstalled, I think. However, I would just opt to not get that manual safety model. And the P30 and the P2000 don't need it. They don't. So there's no manual safety, no decocker. Why is that? We'll get to the trigger later. So we have a hammer. Hammer is kind of recessed. We have rear serrations, forward serrations. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Not the most aggressive thing ever, but they were very functional. This, like I said, this particular version is night sights. Has night sights. And the sight picture is pretty good. Pretty good. I think they say XS on here. Very hard to read. So tiny. I almost can't get it properly on camera. I believe the sights on my P2000 were Meprolite night sights, so I'm assuming these are also Meprolite night sights. I don't know. This is not cut for an optic. HK does not cut the P30 for optics. Does not. However, they have partnered with Langdon Tactical. As I'm looking at this, I feel like the rear sights will push a little bit to the left. Huh. Anyway, as Langdon Tactical has partnered with HK, and Langdon Tactical is doing the optics cuts for HK. The left side. So I skipped over the slide release. The slide release is pretty big. During shooting, I've noticed that if I ride the slide release, the slide won't lock back when I'm shooting. So if I have my thumb even a little bit on top of the slide release, it's not going to lock back. So I've opted to actually put my thumb on the side next to it. Otherwise, it's not going to lock open. In fact, even then. So if you kind of apply any amount of pressure to the slide release, it's not going to lock open. The magazine release is on both sides of the gun. The slide release is on both sides of the gun. This is a very, very out-of-the-box, left-handed friendly gun. No modification required. Nice big old ejection port. A 5 position Picatinny rail. All the Picatinny space. Okay, this looks like this was made in the United States, in Georgia. That's the serial number. This has a 4.5-inch barrel. This is the L version. Let's just break that nomenclature down a little bit. So we got H&K, which stands for Heckler Koch, which were, Nazi scientists, kind of. They were Mauser employees. And I guess if you make good guns, people kind of forgive that. But yeah, they kind of did help the Nazis during World War II. But overlooking that, P, which stands for pistole, which is just like pistol with an E at the end. 30. The P30 was originally going to be called the P3000 as an iteration or further development of the P2000. But sometimes someone didn't really like that. They realized that wasn't a really good marketing thing, so they shortened it to P3000 to just P30, which is probably a good idea. And then L, which stands for, I think, Lang, L-A-N-G, which translates to long. So it's the same thing. Pistol and long are kind of the same words and start with the same letter in both English and German. I don't know if that was intentional, but they kind of do that. So, Pistole, 30, Lang. In 9mm Luger. 9mm by 19. So, let's talk about that V1 trigger configuration. I'm actually kind of a fan, but I think the V1 trigger might be the best of these hammer action guns. The P2000, P30. The double single action triggers on the HK guns, at least like I said, the P2000, P30, aren't very good. They're just not. And you spend a lot of money trying to upgrade them, make them a little better, but they're not good. I think the P30 with the V1 is kind of where it's at. Because if you get the long slide version, if you're not like trying to carry this gun, you might as well get the long slide version anyway. They're about the same money. And the way this V1 trigger works is it's basically a double action gun that is mimicking the functionality of a single action gun. And how does that work? Well, when you rack the slide, it kind of precocks the hammer. And at that point, you have a lot of travel here, but it's like there's almost no resistance. Just left-handed a little bit easier. So you finger on the trigger, and you immediately go here. And you have a relatively crisp trigger. Let's do the reset there. So I'm going to that. Reset is a little far out. Not terrible, not fully out, but about there. And then, and like I said, it kind of mimics the functionality of a single action gun. The trigger isn't the best ever. However, unlike the P2000, which again, there's going to be a video coming up, I don't feel the need to modify this. I don't feel the need to send it out for a trigger job, or I don't feel the need to change parts. The P30L V1, as it comes from the factory, I think is pretty good to go. I think these sights might be off. But I think that as it's set up, as it's put together, I think the P30 really is a big improvement over the P2000. This could be a little lighter, a little crisper, but it's very functional. So how did it shoot? Well, let me start off by saying that in the video, the thumbnail of the video, you're going to see the compensator. So this is the HKparts.net aluminum compensator. This is their part. And when I have this compensator on this gun, it does not cycle properly. It looks super cool. Yeah, it looks nice. It does not cycle properly. For me, what happens is the slide will cycle, and then as it's coming forward, it kind of gets stuck. I think this compensator is kind of like screwing up with the dynamics of the gun. It might be slowing down the velocity of the slide somehow. This is creating pressure here. It's not just going out, it's creating maybe some kind of back pressure. I really don't know, but whenever I shot it with the compensator, the gun would just immediately jam up. And that is really unfortunate because it looks cool. I mean, you lose the Picatinny rail, but it looks cool. You got like nice cuts here, and it kind of goes with the contours of the gun. It doesn't add a whole lot of weight. It does add weight. It's like 4 ounces in the front of the gun. But unfortunately, it just I'm having trouble getting off. I tried tightening it down. Maybe it was like loose and was kind of doing weird stuff, but my example of gun would not work with this. That's unfortunate. Otherwise, the P30 shoots pretty well. I thought a gun of this size, I don't know the exact weight, but I thought a gun of this size would shoot a little softer. It's still just a little bit snappier. Maybe I've gotten too accustomed to 9mm and I haven't really shot 40 or 357 SIG or 45 ACP in a while. Maybe I've just gotten a little soft. But it just didn't seem super soft. It's a little snappy, but it's very manageable. It's still a relatively big, hefty 9mm gun. Don't know the weight on this. I think we're approaching 30 ounces on this, but I don't know the weight off the top of my head. Let's get some targets out. This is 7 yards. Fine, a little bit low. 10 yards. Nice. Now 15 yards. Now, I was starting to see I'm going a little low, a little left. And that typically is a result of bad trigger control. And actually, I think it was. This is 20 yards. This is 25 yards. I did this twice. The ones that I circled are my first attempt. One, I think that's 2, 3. And I think a couple of these went off, 4, 5. So I did it again a second time, and I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think one is just off target. And I was looking at the results. I'm like, yeah, those 25-yard targets aren't really that great. But I was like, you know what? Let me do something different. Let me get some of these. What are these, Q targets? And what I did was, I did a little circle for like point of reference, and I took the gun to like 5, 7, 10, 15, 20, 25 yards. So what is that, like 30 shots? And I would set the target at each one of those distances, and I would just do really quick, like bam, 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 bam. And a little low, a little left, a couple are off target, 2 are off target. I was like, well, let me do that again. Let me just do that one more time. Same thing. And I did it one more time, and I think I got a little bit better. A little more on target. It's pretty good. Like I said, 5, 7, 10, 15, 20, 25 yards, 30 shots. All a little bit left. A little bit left. And I think it might have actually been my fault. Because as I'm shooting, I'm kind of going like this. And I think I was applying too much pressure on this side and not enough pressure on this side. And it was actually just ever so slightly pulling my shots to the left. And I made the point of, trying to put a little more pressure, not like this, but more like this. Or if I really want to exaggerate, like that. It just seemed very sensitive to putting too much pressure on the right side. Now, if you have a really good grip, it shouldn't matter, but I don't know. I thought I had a good grip. Thought I was doing a good job. I just had to be very mindful of where I was putting my finger on the trigger. And typically in modern shooter, we like to not put our finger in too far into the trigger guard. But it seemed like the P30 seemed to want that. It seemed to want my finger in a little bit deeper than maybe we were accustomed to. And after doing those targets and after thinking about it, it just seemed to go a little more to the right. So this is a gun I have 300 rounds through. I'm liking it so far. I think I had one weird malfunction where didn't fire. Didn't fire. And I pulled back on the slide to see what it was, and there was no round in the chamber. Just like one time it didn't pick up a round in the chamber, I don't know why. I want to mention, I forgot to mention that. So every time you rack the slide, it precocks the hammer, and you get that single action like trigger pull. Now, if for whatever reason it doesn't go off, and you want to do a double strike, you get the full double action, the full true. I almost couldn't do that. You don't want that. You never should have to do this. But it is there. That's quite hefty. You don't want to have to deal with that. But that is the V1 trigger configuration. Why does it say made in Germany? And this one say Georgia. Oh, okay. Alright, so I might be incorrect on that. This particular example might be made in Germany, but imported by this HKI company in Georgia. Okay, I'm wrong there. So this is, it's not really a final thought. This is kind of a first impressions video going through the gun. I do like it. I want to shoot it more. I think I'm going to do 2 more videos on the P30L V1. I'm going to do one video comparing the P30 and the HK P2000. I think that's a good video. I want to make it separate by itself. I'll do a takedown in that video because internally there are some weird things going on with the P30 that are a little bit different than the P2000. So I'm going to do that. And then my last video on this gun is probably going to be like a 1,000 round review. I think I'm going to put 1,000 rounds. I got 300 so far. I want to shoot it more, which is a good sign. You know, like, I wish I had more bullets. I could shoot it more. I shot all my bullet, the ammo I had. I have this steel case ammo sitting here that I should probably finish up. But a lot of guns, I had a couple guns that did not like this ammo. And I only bought it because that was kind of what was available at the time. And I'm probably not going to buy this again, so I should shoot this out. Should get rid of it. But yeah, like so far so good. I'm liking it. I think this has the potential to be like my main primary fighting gun. The thing, I don't see this as really a carry gun. It's a little thick. It's a little long. I know people do carry full-size guns, and good on them. I would carry something like a Smith & Wesson Shield, or in fact, I have bought a Smith & Wesson Shield, and that's going to be my carry gun. Something like this is just a big full-size gun, and I think it would do well any place you want a big full-size gun. Home defense, range, competition use, that kind of thing. Maybe a truck gun. If you in those roles, it seems like the P30L V1 would do quite well. But like I said, I'm going to do 2 more videos, a comparison video between this and the P2000. P2000 is going to go soon. Help pay for this, and then like a 1,000 round, 1,000 round review. So this is Steven from the Even Steven channel. Please do all that, like, share, and subscribing. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I will see you next time. Thank you, and goodbye.